Anna Miller hadn't planned to show up at the reunion looking perfect. She simply wanted to survive the evening, smile politely, and leave before anyone asked why she was still single at 27. But the moment she stepped into the rooftop lounge overlooking the Manhattan skyline, she felt the air shift. Old classmates turned. Some smiled politely. Others whispered. And then she heard the voice she never wanted to hear again. "Anna? Still no husband yet?" Jason Reed's laugh cut through the room, sharp enough to draw eyes. He stood in a tailored jacket, drink in hand, the same smirk he wore the day he walked out of her life. "Come on," he said loudly. 27 and nobody put a ring on you? That's rough." People chuckled awkwardly. Anna froze. The glass in her hand trembled. She felt her throat tighten, the kind of tightness that came from swallowing humiliation too many times. She forced a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "I'm doing fine, Jason. Marriage isn't a race." "Oh, right," he replied, lifting his drink. "Some of us just have more options." A small group burst into laughter. Anna felt heat rise up her neck. She wanted to leave, but her legs stayed locked. Something inside her cracked quiet, painful, familiar. This wasn't the first time he belittled her, just the first time he did it in front of a crowd. She stepped back, trying to breathe, when a voice behind her low, steady, unmistakably controlled, cut through the cruelty. "That's enough." Jason turned, annoyed. "And who are?" He stopped mid-sentence. A tall man in a dark suit stood behind Anna, the city lights gleaming against the surface of his Mont Blanc pen as he slipped it into his jacket. His posture was calm, but his eyes were cold steel. People whispered, phones lowered. Someone gasped softly. It was Ethan Crawford, the billionaire CEO who rarely appeared in public settings. The man whose face was on financial magazines, whose company occupied half of Park Avenue. And yet, there he was, standing behind Anna like he'd been watching the whole time. Ethan didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. "You don't speak to her like that," he said. "Not now. Not ever." Jason blinked. "Ooh, wait, you know her?" Ethan's eyes softened, almost imperceptibly, as they landed on Anna. She felt something strange stir inside her, a warmth that didn't belong to embarrassment, but to something she couldn't name. "Yes," Ethan said quietly. "I do." The room fell silent. Anna's pulse hammered. She didn't understand why this powerful man was stepping in for her, of all people. Jason swallowed hard, suddenly pale. Ethan moved closer to Anna, his presence steadying her. "You should walk away now," he told Jason. Jason hesitated, eyes darting between them. Anna felt the entire room watching, waiting, breath held. And then Ethan leaned slightly toward her and murmured, "Let me handle this, unless you want to tell him the truth yourself." Her breath caught. What truth? The answer was something Anna didn't even know yet. Anna didn't wait for the room to settle. The moment Jason stepped back and the whispers began circling like smoke, she slipped away from the rooftop lounge and into the hallway. Her chest felt tight, as if Manhattan's night sky had pressed down on her lungs. She didn't know what rattled her more, the humiliation Jason threw at her, or the way Ethan Crawford had stepped in like he'd known her for years. The elevator doors opened, and she stepped inside, hugging her arms around herself. The polished chrome walls reflected her face, eyes glossy, smile long gone. She pressed the button for the lobby, trying to swallow the sting in her throat. It wasn't just what Jason said tonight. It was what he'd said for years. Too emotional. Too average. Too difficult to love. Those words had echoed long after he left her, carving out spaces she tried to fill with work, effort, and quiet resilience. When the elevator reached the lobby, she walked out into the cool night air. The city glowed car headlights streaking across wet pavement, the distant hum of Fifth Avenue traffic, the muted buzz from a nearby coffee cart closing for the night. She wrapped her coat tighter. Her phone buzzed with messages from Mia asking if she was okay, but she couldn't bring herself to answer yet. She walked toward the corner, letting the night settle around her. A delivery truck rolled past, splashing through a puddle. She stepped back, shaking off a cold drop from her sleeve. She wished she had somewhere quiet to hide, somewhere no one remembered her as the girl who still wasn't married. As she reached the crosswalk, her phone buzzed again, this time with an unknown number. She frowned, her thumb hesitating before sliding across the screen. "Anna?" The voice was deep, steady. Her heart stumbled. "Ethan! How did you get my number?" I asked your colleague, he said simply. "I wanted to make sure you got home safely." She glanced around instinctively, wondering if he was nearby. "You don't have to do that." "I know," he replied, "but I want to." She didn't know how to respond. No one had ever said that to her with that kind of certainty. "Anna," Ethan continued, quieter now, "we need to talk about what happened tonight, and about why I stepped in." Her breath caught. "What do you mean? Why did you?" A pause. "Because there's something you don't know yet." And that something was already on its way toward her. Anna didn't sleep that night. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw the way Ethan Crawford looked at her. Steady, intentional, as if he had stepped forward not out of impulse, but meaning. She didn't believe it. Men like him didn't notice women like her. But the memory lingered long after she crawled into bed. The next morning, Manhattan was washed in pale sunlight, and Anna walked into her office building, clutching a warm coffee she barely tasted. She told herself to focus on work, ignore the reunion, forget the billionaire who had spoken her name like it mattered. But when the elevator doors slid open, fate seemed to laugh. Inside stood Ethan. He wasn't surrounded by assistants or security. He stood alone, adjusting the cuff of his dark suit, the reflection of his MacBook Pro tucked under his arm, gleaming faintly in the mirrored walls. His gaze lifted and locked on hers. For a second, Anna considered turning around, running, hiding in the nearest stairwell, but her feet carried her inside. The doors closed behind her, with a soft chime. "Good morning, Anna," Ethan said, his voice warm in a way that made her stomach tighten. Hi," she managed, staring at the floor numbers instead of him. "You left quickly last night," he continued. "I wanted to avoid drama." "A wise instinct," he replied. "But you shouldn't have walked out feeling ashamed. You did nothing wrong." Anna let out a breath. "It didn't feel like that." Ethan shifted, turning slightly toward her. Jason was out of line. "That's an understatement," she muttered, then winced, realizing she had said it aloud. Ethan's lips curved, just a hint of amusement. "Understatement or not, you handled yourself with grace." Anna felt heat rising to her cheeks. She barely managed a nod. The elevator dinged at the 32nd floor. Neither of them moved. "Anna," Ethan said softly, "there's a reason I stepped in last night." Her heartbeat stumbled. "You don't have to explain. You barely know me." "That's not entirely true." She blinked. "What do you mean?" He exhaled, slow, deliberate. "You've worked in this building for almost 2 years. I've seen you before, passing through the lobby, carrying half your team's workload, helping people who never seem to notice. I pay attention to those things." Anna's breath caught. "Why would you pay attention to me?" The doors opened again. Ethan stepped out, then turned back. "Because someone should." And before she could reply, he added, "And because what I'm about to tell you changes everything." Anna spent the entire morning trying to convince herself she'd misread everything Ethan said. People like him, powerful CEOs with offices overlooking all of Manhattan, didn't take interest in women like her. She told herself it was politeness, nothing more. Maybe gratitude for not causing a scene the night before. Nothing else made sense. But just before noon, her desk phone rang. "Anna Miller? Yes? This is the executive floor. Mr. Crawford would like to see you for a brief meeting." Her heart dropped to her stomach. A meeting? With him? Why? She barely had time to smooth her blouse before she stepped into the private elevator that led to the 60th floor. When the doors opened, she found herself in a stunning corridor of glass and quit an entirely different world from the buzzing cubicles below. Ethan stood near the window, sunlight reflecting off the skyline behind him. He turned when he heard her footsteps. "Thank you for coming," he said, offering a small smile that somehow felt real. I didn't know we had a meeting," she replied, adjusting her grip on the folder she wasn't sure she needed. "We don't," he said. "I wanted to talk. And to offer you lunch." Her eyes widened. "Lunch?" He nodded. "There's a small restaurant overlooking Central Park. Quiet. You deserve a break after last night." Her mind spun. "You really don't have to do that." "I know," Ethan said gently, "but I want to." Before she could protest again, his assistant appeared with his coat. Ethan motioned for Anna to follow him. Moments later, they were walking through the lobby, sunlight pouring across the marble floors. Outside, a black Mercedes S-Class waited at the curb, sleek against the afternoon light. Inside the restaurant, everything felt soft warm colors, low music, a view of Central Park stretching out in late afternoon gold. Anna sat across from Ethan, trying to calm the storm inside her ribcage. "You still seem shaken," he said, watching her carefully. "A little," she admitted. "I'm not used to attention, especially not the kind that happened last night." "Cruelty isn't attention," Ethan said quietly. "It's insecurity wearing a louder mask." His words landed deeper than he knew. She looked at him. "Why do you care?" He set down his fork, expression unreadable. "Because I've seen people tear you down, and I've also seen the strength you use to stand back up." Her breath caught. "How would you know that?" she whispered. He leaned in, voice low. "Because someone's been watching you long before Jason opened his mouth." By Monday morning, the entire office buzzed with something Anna couldn't quite name. People stared longer than usual, whispering behind half-closed cubicle walls. She'd felt eyes on her before, usually when she carried too many files or volunteered to fix someone else's mistake. But this was different. This attention felt sharp. When she reached her desk, Mia texted, "Heads up, Jason's spreading things again. Be careful." Anna's stomach tightened. She didn't want to believe it, but she knew Jason too well. Humiliating her once was never enough for him. As she set her bag down, two co-workers walked by. "She thinks she can climb using a billionaire now?" one muttered. "Ridiculous," the other replied. "Someone like her? Never going to happen." Anna closed her eyes, grounding herself. She didn't ask for Ethan's help. She didn't ask for any of this. She only wanted peace, but Jason seemed determined to rewrite her life in a way that made her look desperate. At lunch, she tried hiding in the small break room, sipping a lukewarm tea while scrolling through her phone. Then she overheard it, the conversation that made her chest clench. "I heard she went home with him," a woman said. "Crawford? No way." That's what Jason said. "Apparently she's been trying to get his attention for months." Anna froze. The words were quiet, but not quiet enough. Trying to get his attention? She had barely spoken to Ethan before last week. She pressed a hand to her forehead, willing the pressure behind her eyes to ease. This wasn't just office gossip. Jason was poisoning the one place she had left to feel steady. Then the room hushed. A shadow crossed the doorway. Ethan Crawford. He stood there tall, calm, his gaze sweeping the room with the same cold precision she'd seen at the reunion. The two gossiping women stiffened, color draining from their faces. Ethan's eyes found Anna. "May I speak with you?" he asked. She nodded, rising slowly, aware of every pair of eyes burning into her back as she followed him into the hallway. Ethan stopped near the window overlooking Park Avenue, turning toward her with concern etched in his features. "Anna," he said softly, "I heard what Jason has been saying." She looked down. "I'm sorry you have to be dragged into this." "Don't apologize," he said firmly. "This isn't your fault." He stepped closer, lowering his voice. "There's something you need to know something about Jason's motives." Anna's heart thudded. "What motives?" Ethan exhaled, jaw tightening. "He's not just trying to humiliate you, he's trying to destroy you." Anna stood frozen by the window, the afternoon light casting long shadows across the polished floor. Ethan's words echoed in her ears. "Jason wants to destroy you." She tried to steady her breathing, but something inside her twisted, tight, and painful. "Why?" she whispered. "Why would he go this far?" Ethan studied her for a moment, then spoke carefully, as if weighing each word. "Because men like Jason hate losing control. To them, humiliation feels like revenge. And last night, he felt small in front of you." Anna swallowed. "He humiliated me in front of everyone. And then I stood up for you," Ethan replied. That bruised his ego in ways he didn't expect. She didn't know what to say. She wasn't used to anyone, especially someone like Ethan Crawford, speaking about her with that level of concern. It felt unreal, fragile, like something that could vanish if she blinked too hard. Before she could respond, the sound of raised voices drifted down the hallway. "She's pathetic, acting like she's special because Crawford said one sentence to her." Anna's stomach dropped. She recognized the voice instantly, Kelsey, one of Jason's closest friends at the office. Anna turned her head just as Kelsey rounded the corner, eyes burning with malicious delight, and behind her stood Jason. He leaned against the wall, arms crossed, smirk sharp as a knife. "Look who's hiding with the CEO," he said loudly, drawing the attention of several employees. "Guess the rumors were true." Murmurs spread instantly. Phones subtly lifted. Someone pretended to check email, but was clearly recording. Anna felt heat rise to her face. Her palms trembled. "Jason, stop!" "Why?" "You embarrassed yourself," he said, stepping closer. "You really think a man like him wants you?" Ethan moved so quickly she barely saw it. One step forward, positioning himself between Anna and Jason, his expression turning cold enough to freeze oxygen. "That's enough," Ethan said, voice low. Jason laughed. "Or what? You'll fire me for telling the truth?" "You want truth?" Ethan replied, eyes narrowing. "You're sabotaging a woman who did nothing to you, and you're doing it in my building." Silence snapped across the hallway. Jason's smirk faltered. Ethan continued, calm but lethal. "If you speak to her again like this, you won't have a badge to enter this office." The employees watching gasped softly. Jason's face paled. "You can't?" "I can," Ethan said. "And I will." Anna's heart pounded. No one had ever defended her publicly. Not like this. Not with power behind the words. Jason stepped back, jaw tight, eyes full of a hatred that made her skin prickle. He pointed at Anna. "This isn't over." He walked away, but the damage lingered in the air. Anna looked up at Ethan, shaken. "Why did you do that?" He met her gaze with unsettling honesty. "Because someone out there wants to break you, and it's time you knew who." The elevator ride down to the lobby felt heavier than the glass walls around them. Anna kept her arms wrapped around herself, trying to make sense of everything Ethan had said. Jason wanting to destroy her sounded dramatic, almost paranoid, until she saw the look in Ethan Crawford's eyes. He wasn't a man who exaggerated. Once they stepped into the quiet lobby, Ethan motioned toward a seating area near the windows overlooking Park Avenue. Sunlight filtered through the tall panes, catching dust in the air like small pieces of gold. Anna sat, fingers twisting nervously. "Tell me everything," she said softly. "Why is he doing this? What does he want?" Ethan didn't sit. He stood before her, shoulders tense, as if restraining something sharper beneath the surface. "2 months ago," he began, "Jason interviewed for a junior position at my firm. He made it extremely clear he wanted a fast-track promotions, access, power. But during the vetting process, my team found concerning behavior. He was manipulative, dishonest. He pressured colleagues, so we declined." Anna blinked. "He never told me that." "He wouldn't," Ethan replied. "But what he did do was blame you." "Blame me?" she repeated, stunned. "Why me?" "Because you work in this building," Ethan said. "Because you're competent. Because people like Jason always look for someone to target when their own failures catch up with them. And when he saw me speak to you, Ethan's jaw tightened. He convinced himself you'd taken something from him. A job. A future. Me. Anna stared at him, speechless. That's insane. I barely knew you. That doesn't matter to him, Ethan said. He needs a narrative where he's the victim and you're the villain. A cold shiver crawled up her spine. She thought Jason's cruelty came from old relationship bitterness. She never imagined it ran deeper, rooted in entitlement and resentment she never caused. So he's doing all this because he didn't get a job? She whispered. Ethan finally sat beside her, lowering his voice. Jason's been feeding information to people outside the company. Gossip, rumors, things designed to harm you and undermine my workplace. My team caught wind of it this morning. Anna's breath stilled. People outside, like who? Ethan hesitated. That's the part I'm still investigating, he said. But whoever he's talking to, they're not interested in you. They're interested in me. Her pulse spiked. In you? Why? He turned his head, eyes locking onto hers with unsettling intensity. Because someone out there wants to use you to get to me, and Jason has already helped them. Anna had never stepped foot inside the Plaza Hotel before. She'd walked past it, of course, on holidays, on hurried mornings, on evenings when she wondered what life must feel like for people whose worlds looked nothing like hers. But being invited there was a different reality entirely. When Ethan's message arrived, formal gala tonight, I'd like you to come as my guest. She reread it 3 times, convinced she imagined the words. Mia practically screamed when she told her, You're going to a gala at the Plaza with a billionaire CEO? Anna, we need a dress immediately. 2 hours later, Anna stood in front of Mia's boutique mirror, wearing a deep navy gown that hugged her waist and glimmered when the light hit it. Soft waves framed her face, and a delicate necklace rested against her collarbone. She barely recognized herself. You look like someone who belongs there, Mia whispered, fastening the clasp. Anna smiled nervously. I hope I don't trip. When she arrived at the plaza, every chandelier seemed to breathe gold. The ballroom sparkled with crystal glasses, polished marble, and the hum of wealth moving in perfectly tailored suits. Anna paused at the entrance, heart racing. Then she saw him. Ethan stood near the grand staircase, a black tuxedo fitting him with impossible precision. His gaze swept the room, once then locked onto her. The shift in his expression was subtle but unmistakable. He wasn't expecting her to look like this. He approached slowly, as if memorizing every step she took toward him. You're stunning, he said softly, offering his arm. She took it, trying to calm the flutter in her chest. This place feels unreal. That's because most of the people here are pretending, he replied. You're the only one who looks real. Her cheeks warmed. Before she could answer, heads began turning. Murmurs rippled across the room. Who is she? Is Crawford finally dating someone? She's beautiful. Anna held her breath. Suddenly, Jason's voice from the reunion replayed in her mind. No husband yet? No one wants you. But here she stood, in a ballroom full of power, next to a man who treated her like she mattered. Ethan leaned in slightly. Ignore them. They're curious because you don't fit the mold. That doesn't make me feel better, she whispered. It should, he said. People who don't fit the mold are the ones who change the room. They reached the center of the ballroom right as a woman in an emerald dress stepped directly into their path. A woman who clearly knew Ethan, and who clearly didn't like Anna. So this is the girl, she said, smiling like a blade. How unexpected. Anna didn't need an introduction to know the woman in emerald wasn't a friend. Her posture alone, chin slightly raised, shoulders back, eyes gleaming with practiced superiority, told Anna everything she needed. This was someone used to winning, someone used to being chosen. Marissa, Ethan said politely, though his tone cooled. I didn't expect to see you tonight. Oh, I'm sure you didn't. Marissa's smile widened, but it wasn't warm. Her eyes swept over Anna from head to toe. And you brought a date. How refreshing. Anna forced a polite smile. It's nice to meet you. Is it? Marissa tilted her head. You must be new to events like this. The plaza can feel overwhelming for people who aren't accustomed to this world. The comment hung in the air, like perfume sweet on the surface, toxic underneath. Ethan's jaw tightened. Marissa, enough. But Marissa wasn't finished. I just hope you understand the expectations that come with standing beside a man like Ethan. She leaned in slightly. People watch, people judge, and people talk. Anna held her ground, though her pulse raced. People always talk. It doesn't mean they're right. A faint flicker, surprise, annoyance, crossed Marissa's face. Clearly, she had expected Anna to crumble. Confidence, Marissa murmured. Interesting. Tell me, Ethan, how long has this been going on? Ethan glanced at Anna, then back at Marissa. Long enough that it's none of your concern. Marissa's expression slipped for a fraction of a second, revealing something sharper beneath the polish. You know, she said, voice dropping, people are already whispering, wondering who she is, where she came from, why you chose her. Anna exhaled quietly. Maybe they'll stop wondering when they realize their curiosity isn't my responsibility. Marissa blinked, another small victory Anna didn't expect. But then Marissa leaned closer, her voice smooth and cutting. Just be careful, dear. Men like Ethan attract attention, and not all of it is harmless, especially for someone standing in your shoes. She smiled one last time. Enjoy your evening. Marissa glided away, leaving a faint trail of tension behind her. Ethan turned to Anna. Are you okay? Anna nodded, though her stomach churned. Who is she? Someone who wanted what she couldn't have, Ethan said simply. And someone who won't be the last to test you. Anna swallowed, the weight of his words settling over her. What do you mean? She asked quietly. Ethan's expression darkened. Because someone else here tonight is watching you, and their intentions aren't nearly as obvious. Anna tried to steady her breathing as the music softened and the ballroom lights dimmed into a warm golden glow. She felt Ethan's hand subtly rest at the small of her back, guiding her away from the crowd and toward a quieter corner of the room. He didn't seem tense, but he wasn't relaxed either. He was watching everything, everyone. Ethan, she murmured, you're making me nervous. His gaze shifted from the crowd to her. I'm making sure you're safe. From who? She asked. His jaw tightened slightly. Not here. They stepped onto a small balcony overlooking Fifth Avenue. Cool air brushed her skin, the hum of the city rising from below like a living heartbeat. Ethan removed his jacket and draped it over her shoulders before standing beside her. You asked earlier why Marissa said what she did, he began. Why people are watching. Why you've become a topic at these events. Anna nodded slowly. It's not just because I brought you, he continued. It's because he paused, searching her face. Because I'm not someone who dates casually. I don't bring people into my world unless I trust them. Anna's breath caught. Ethan, this is our second actual outing. That doesn't change what I know, he said quietly. Or what I've seen. She turned toward him fully, heart thudding. What have you seen? He hesitated not out of uncertainty, but out of reluctance, as though revealing too much could shift the ground beneath them. I've seen you show kindness to people who don't return it, he said. I've seen you work twice as hard as colleagues who get twice the credit. I've seen you carry burdens you never deserved. His eyes softened. And I've seen how easily people underestimate you. Anna swallowed, her throat tightening. Ethan, why were you paying attention to me in the first place? His expression flickered something private, something wounded. Because you remind me of someone I failed to protect. Silence fell between them, heavy but intimate. Anna stepped closer, gently. Who? Ethan lowered his gaze to the street below. My sister, he said quietly. She trusted the wrong people, believed their intentions were pure. His voice darkened. She paid the price for my ignorance. Anna felt her chest squeeze. She reached for his hand, hesitant, but instinctive. I'm so sorry, she whispered. Ethan finally looked at her again, eyes shadowed with history. I won't make that mistake twice. Before Anna could respond, the balcony door swung open. A security guard stepped out, tense. Mr. Crawford, he said urgently, we have a situation. Ethan straightened. What kind of situation? The guard hesitated, then looked at Anna. It's about her. Anna felt the world tilt as Ethan said, Tell me exactly what happened. Anna felt her pulse spike the moment the guard spoke. Ethan stepped forward, his voice sharpening with authority she'd only seen glimpses of before. What happened? He demanded. The guard lowered his voice. Someone approached the press outside the hotel and leaked a story. They're claiming Ms. Miller has been pursuing you for months for financial gain. Anna's breath caught. What? That's not true. I know, Ethan said immediately, steady but furious. Who leaked it? The guard hesitated, then answered, Jason Reed. Anna felt the air leave her lungs. Jason again. Always Jason. As if humiliating her privately wasn't enough. Now he wanted to destroy her reputation in front of the entire city. The guard continued. A reporter is already in the lobby asking for a comment. They have photos of the two of you arriving together. Ethan swore under his breath, a low, controlled sound that told Anna this was no minor problem. Public perception mattered in his world. One rumor could spiral into something lethal. Anna pressed a hand to her forehead. This is my fault. I should never have stopped. Ethan interrupted, turning to her sharply. None of this is your fault. But if the press thinks whatever they're told, he cut in, and tonight, someone fed them a lie. Anna blinked back the sting in her eyes. She didn't want to cry. Not here, not in front of him, not after coming so far. But it was overwhelming. The ballroom, the whispers, the pressure of being beside someone like Ethan, and now the entire city being invited to judge her. Ethan reached out, brushing his hand lightly against her arm. Look at me. She did. You did nothing wrong, he said softly, and I will not let anyone use you as ammunition against me. Before she could respond, his phone buzzed. He glanced at it, his expression darkening. My PR director wants an immediate response. If we don't address this now, it'll spread. Anna swallowed hard. What are you going to say? Ethan tucked his phone away, then looked at her with a resolve that warmed and terrified her at the same time. The truth, he said. He paused, his eyes holding hers. Part of it, at least. Anna frowned. What part? He took a slow breath. The part where I tell the world exactly who you are to me. Her heart stopped. Before she could ask what he meant, Ethan gently took her hand. Anna, we're going downstairs. Together. Her voice trembled. Ethan, what are you going to tell them? He opened the balcony door, something Jason never expected. The moment Ethan and Anna stepped into the grand lobby of the plaza, every conversation seemed to stop. The marble floors reflected soft light upward, illuminating their faces as cameras turned in unison. A cluster of reporters stood near the revolving doors, microphones raised like weapons. The lead reporter stepped forward. Mr. Crawford, is it true you've been secretly seeing this woman? Sources say she's been pursuing you for financial gain. Ethan didn't let her finish. That's a lie, he said, voice strong enough to cut through the tension. And whoever told you that knows it's a lie. The room stirred. Anna felt dozens, maybe hundreds of eyes on her. Her palms were slick, her throat tight, but Ethan didn't release her hand. If anything, his grip grew steadier. Then, what is your relationship with Ms. Miller? Another reporter pressed. Ethan looked down at Anna, the smallest softening in his expression before he faced the cameras again. I invited her tonight, he said, because I value her character more than the noise surrounding us. A ripple of surprise swept the crowd. Cameras flashed aggressively now, reporters leaning closer. One shouted, Are you saying she's not using you? Ethan's gaze sharpened. She doesn't use people, she helps them. I've watched her give more than she ever receives. And anyone claiming otherwise is pushing an agenda. Anna's breath caught. No one had ever defended her like this publicly, boldly, without hesitation. The humiliation Jason caused cracked open inside her, but instead of bleeding, something new took root. Strength. Another reporter called out, "Is this a romantic relationship?" Anna tensed. Ethan didn't flinch. "What we are," he said, "is none of your business." A controlled pause. What matters is clearing a woman's name before a lie destroys it. It was the closest thing to a confession he'd ever made in front of the world. Flash, flash, flash. Someone shoved a phone in Anna's direction. "Ms. Miller, do you have a response?" Her voice nearly failed her, but she found the courage to speak. "I'm not here to use anyone," she said quietly. "I'm just trying to live my life without being dragged through lies." Several reporters lowered their mics not out of disinterest, but out of respect. Then the hotel doors burst open. Security rushed inside, signaling to Ethan. "Sir," one said urgently, "we've identified the person Jason has been communicating with." Ethan's expression darkened. "Who?" he demanded. The guard swallowed. "Someone with a personal vendetta against you. And they want Anna next." Anna didn't remember the ride back to her apartment, only the heaviness sitting in her chest. Ethan had insisted on sending a car, but once she stepped inside her building and closed the door behind her, the silence became unbearable. She kicked off her heels, her body trembling from hours of tension she could no longer contain. Her phone buzzed non-stop texts from coworkers, missed calls from Mia, notifications from strangers on social media. She finally unlocked the screen, and the comments hit her like a tidal wave. "Gold digger! She's not even that pretty. Why would Crawford choose her? She's obviously manipulating him." Each word cut deeper than the last. She dropped onto her couch, covering her mouth to muffle a broken sound. It didn't matter that the rumors were lies. It didn't matter that Ethan had stood in front of cameras defending her. Tonight, the world had decided she was a villain in a story she never asked to be part of. Her hands shook as she scrolled again. Someone had posted photos of her at the gala, walking beside Ethan, laughing softly, looking up at him with nervous hope. The captions twisted everything into something ugly. She locked her phone and pressed it face down onto the cushion. Her breathing turned shallow. "This is too much," she whispered. "I can't handle this." A tear slid down her cheek. Then another. Soon she was crying quiet at first, then harder, shoulders shaking as days of embarrassment, fear, and pressure crashed over her. Every cruel memory resurfaced: Jason's voice mocking her, Marissa's cutting smirk, strangers online tearing apart her worth as if she were a public object. She curled into herself. "I didn't do anything wrong," she whispered through tears. "Why does it feel like I'm being punished?" A soft knock startled her. She wiped her face but didn't move. Another knock, firmer this time. "Anna?" Ethan's voice came through the door, low, concerned, too gentle for the chaos inside her mind. "Please open the door." She froze. She didn't want him to see her like this. Not broken, not undone. "Anna," he said again, voice closer now, hurt even. "You don't have to go through this alone." Her breath caught. She stood slowly, each step toward the door feeling heavier than the last. Her fingers hovered over the lock. "Ethan," she whispered, voice breaking. "I can't. I don't know if I'm strong enough for this." Silence. Then, "Open the door, Anna, because what I have to tell you changes everything." Anna's hand trembled as she unlocked the door. When it opened, Ethan stood there still in his tux, tie loosened, worry etched across his normally controlled features. He didn't hesitate. He stepped inside and gently closed the door behind him. "You've been crying," he said softly. She looked away. "Everyone saw it. Everyone has an opinion about me, and none of them are kind." Ethan shook his head. "Their opinions are noise. What matters is the truth. And you need to hear it before things get worse." Anna swallowed hard. "What truth?" He motioned toward the couch. She sat, wiping the last of her tears. Ethan remained standing for a moment, as if deciding how to break something too heavy to drop all at once. "It's about Jason," he finally said, "but he's not acting alone." Her chest tightened. "You said he was feeding information to someone else. Who is it?" Ethan exhaled slowly. An old rival, Mason Clark. The name hit like cold water. Even Anna, far removed from billionaire circles, recognized it. Clark Industries had been in a long, very public feud with Crawford Global for years. Rumors of sabotage, corporate theft, and boardroom warfare had made headlines more than once. "So Jason is helping a corporate enemy?" she whispered, horrified. "Yes," Ethan said. "He's been in contact with Mason for weeks. The goal wasn't just to humiliate you, it was to destabilize me. They learned I had taken interest in someone outside my usual world, someone who appeared vulnerable to exploitation." His jaw tightened. "They chose you as the pressure point." Anna felt sick. "So I'm being attacked because of your rivalry?" "Because you matter to me," Ethan corrected quietly. "Mason sees emotional connection as a weakness. He thinks if he breaks you, he breaks me." She stared at him, stunned. "Why didn't you tell me earlier?" "Because I needed proof," he said. "And tonight, we finally got it. My security team tracked the leaks. Jason met with Mason's assistant 2 days ago. They shared information. Your schedule, your social media, even photos from your office." Anna pressed a hand to her mouth. "He was watching me?" "More than that," Ethan said darkly. "He was planning to escalate." A cold shiver ran through her. "What does that mean?" Ethan sat beside her now, his voice low and earnest. "It means you're not safe if we do nothing. And I won't allow that." Anna's breath shook. "What are we supposed to do?" Ethan took her hands gently, holding them as if anchoring her. "We fight back," he said. "But there's something I need from you first." She looked up, heart pounding. "What?" "What is it?" Ethan's next words would change the entire direction of her life. Anna didn't understand at first. Ethan's hands were warm around hers, but the seriousness in his eyes chilled her to the bone. "What do you need from me?" she asked softly. Ethan hesitated, not with uncertainty, but with caution. "Oh, I need you to trust me, completely. Tonight may not be safe." Her pulse spiked. "What do you mean, not safe?" "There's been movement," he said. "Mason's people were seen near your building earlier. They're not here to hurt you physically. They're here to provoke a scandal that could cripple my company. They want photos, recordings, anything they can twist into a weapon." Anna felt nausea swirl in her stomach. "So, they're watching the building?" "More than that," Ethan said. "They're waiting for you to step outside alone." Her breath hitched. Suddenly, her cozy apartment felt like a glass cage. "But why tonight?" she whispered. "Because Jason's leak didn't get the reaction Mason wanted," Ethan answered. "My public defense of you ruined their angle. Now they want something bigger, something explosive." Anna pressed a hand to her chest. "I can't be part of this war, Ethan. I'm not built for it." He sat closer, his voice grounding. "You don't have to fight alone. I just need you to leave with me tonight quietly and safely. I have a secure residence uptown. You'll be protected." Protected. The word soothed and terrified her at once. "Ethan, if I go with you, people will talk even more." "Let them," he said, eyes steady. "I'd rather face rumors than risk your safety." She swallowed hard, torn between fear and the strange, growing trust she felt toward him. "What if I say no?" Ethan didn't flinch. "Then I'll sit outside your door all night, but they won't stop. They'll escalate until one of us breaks." He paused. "I won't let it be you." A trembling breath left her lips. "Okay," she whispered. "I'll go." Relief flickered across Ethan's face quick, but unmistakable. He stood, offering his hand. She took it, feeling steadier simply by touching him. He led her to the door, pausing for a moment to scan the hallway through the peephole. "My driver's waiting at the side entrance," he murmured. "We'll avoid the front." Anna nodded. heart pounding as he unlocked the door. But the moment it cracked open, he froze. His entire body went still. "Ethan," she whispered. He slowly closed the door, locking it again. His voice was barely audible. "They're already here." For a moment, neither of them moved. Anna felt her pulse thundering in her throat as Ethan stepped back from the door, every muscle in his body coiled with focus. He wasn't panicking, he was calculating, and that terrified her more than the danger itself. "Ethan," she whispered, "what did you see?" "Two men," he said quietly. One standing directly across the hallway, pretending to check his phone. Another by the elevators. "They're watching your door." Anna's chest tightened. "What do they want?" "To photograph you leaving with me?" Ethan replied. "Or worse, corner you into a compromising situation Mason can spin." His jaw clenched. "He wants leverage, not violence, but leverage can ruin lives." Anna pressed a hand to her forehead. "I can't believe this. This is my home." "I know," Ethan said, softer, stepping closer. "And I hate that you're being dragged into this because of me." "Not because of you," she corrected weakly. "Because of Jason." His eyes darkened. "Yes, and he's about to realize he chose the wrong people to betray." Ethan moved through her apartment, scanning the windows, the fire escape, even the shadows. When he returned, he had already formed a plan. "Do you have a hoodie?" he asked. Anna blinked. "A hoodie?" "Yes, something plain, something that hides your face." She hurried to her bedroom, grabbing a black hoodie and pulling it over her evening dress. The absurd contrast might have made her laugh on another day. Not tonight. When she returned, Ethan was on the phone, speaking in a low, clipped tone. "Side alley, no headlights." "Yes?" "2 minutes." He hung up and looked at her. "We're taking the back stairwell. It exits near the dumpsters. No cameras there. From the alley, my driver will take us to the safe residence." Anna nodded, fear and adrenaline mixing inside her chest. "Okay." He placed his hands on her shoulders. "Stay close to me, and whatever happens, don't speak to anyone." She swallowed. "I trust you?" A small flicker softened his expression, but only for a second. Then he opened the apartment door a crack, listening. The hallway murmured with distant elevator chimes and footsteps. "Now," he whispered. They slipped into the stairwell, descending quickly. Each floor echoed with tension. When they reached the exit door, Ethan paused, listening again. Then he pushed it open. Cold air hit them along with something else. A figure stepped forward from the shadows. Not one of Mason's men. Someone Anna recognized instantly. Jason. His smile was poison. "Going somewhere?" Ethan moved in front of Anna just as Jason reached into his jacket. Jason's grin widened as he stepped out of the shadows, blocking the narrow alleyway like he owned it. The dim street lamp flickered above him, casting jagged light across his face. Anna felt her stomach twist. This wasn't the man she once dated. This was someone unhinged, desperate, driven by a darkness she never saw before. Ethan moved instantly, positioning himself between them. "Don't take another step," he warned, voice low and lethal. Jason laughed, a harsh cracking sound. "Look at this." The mighty Ethan Crawford sneaking out a side door with his little charity case. Anna flinched, but Ethan didn't react. His focus was razor-sharp. "What's in your jacket?" Ethan asked, eyes narrowing. Jason huffed. "Relax. It's just my phone. I was hoping to get a picture something to help Mason finish what he started." Anna felt a chill crawl up her spine. "Jason, why are you doing this? What did I ever do to you?" He snapped toward her, eyes wild. "You existed. You walked around acting like you were too good for me. Then you embarrassed me in front of half our high school reunion. You humiliated me," she whispered. "Because you deserved it," Jason spat. "And now you're running around with a billionaire? Please, everyone knows you're not worth that kind of attention." Ethan took a step forward, voice colder than steel. "You're finished, Jason." Jason scoffed. "You can't touch me. Mason protects his people." You're not his people, Ethan answered. You're disposable. Jason's expression faltered just for a moment, but enough for Anna to see the fear beneath the arrogance. Then another voice cut through the alley. Jason Reed? A second figure appeared near the dumpsters. Arthur Bennett, Ethan's head of strategy, flanked by two security specialists. Jason stiffened. What is this? Arthur approached, holding a tablet. We traced every message you sent to Mason's team. The leaks, the photos, the attempt to sabotage Crawford Global's board vote. It's all here. Jason went pale. You can't prove... Arthur tapped the screen. We already did. And Mason has officially denied involvement. He claims you acted alone to impress him. The betrayal hit Jason so hard, his knees nearly buckled. No, that's not true. He promised. He promised nothing, Ethan said. And now you're going to answer for everything you've done. Jason's breath turned ragged. You can't ruin me. You can't. You ruined yourself, Ethan replied. Security stepped forward, but Jason wasn't done. His gaze snapped to Anna's, burning, frantic, dangerous. This isn't over, he snarled. You think he can protect you? Just wait! He lunged. Anna gasped. Ethan grabbed her and spun her out of reach, just as Jason reached into his jacket again, this time not for a phone. The moment Jason's hand dove back into his jacket, chaos snapped through the alleyway. Ethan pulled Anna behind him with a force that stole her breath. Security lunged. A sharp shout echoed off the brick walls. But instead of a weapon, Jason pulled out a metal flash drive. He held it up like a detonator. You think I'm finished? This is everything Mason wanted. Every file, every private detail about you, Crawford, about her. I still win, Arthur barked. Secure him! Two guards grabbed Jason's arms, wrenching the flash drive from his hand. Jason screamed, kicking wildly, desperation pouring off him like sweat. You ruined me, he shouted at Anna. You ruined everything. Anna felt her knees weaken, but Ethan's arm wrapped around her, grounding her in the middle of the chaos. No, Ethan said coldly. You ruined yourself the moment you chose cruelty over decency. Jason's voice cracked. You'll regret this, both of you. But his threats faded as security dragged him to the waiting SUV. When the alley fell silent again, Anna finally let out the breath she'd been holding. Her whole body trembled. Ethan turned to her immediately. Are you hurt? She shook her head, voice barely a whisper. No, just overwhelmed. Ethan cupped her face gently. You were incredibly brave. Anna let out a shaky laugh. I didn't feel brave. That's what courage looks like, he murmured. Standing tall, even when everything around you is trying to break you. Her eyes flooded relief, fear, exhaustion, all tangled together. Ethan, I didn't choose any of this. I know, he whispered, but I chose you. Those words hit harder than anything tonight. His driver pulled the car to the edge of the alley, headlights dimmed. Ethan helped Anna inside, sliding in next to her instead of taking the front seat. As the car pulled away, Manhattan's lights blurred past. For the first time since the nightmare began, the world seemed quiet. Anna leaned her head against the window. What happens now? Ethan took a slow breath, then reached into his jacket, not for a pen, not for his phone, something small, something velvet. Anna's heart stuttered. Ethan, what are you doing? He turned toward her, expression raw and unguarded in the passing streetlight. After tonight, there's one thing I'm certain of, he said. I don't want to spend another day pretending you're not the most important person in my life. He opened the box. A ring glimmered softly inside. Anna, Ethan whispered, will you marry me? Anna never imagined she'd say yes so quickly, but the moment Ethan's voice broke through the quiet hum of the moving car, the world seemed to still. She'd been trembling, terrified, overwhelmed. But when he asked her to marry him, something inside her settled with surprising certainty. She said yes, not loudly, not dramatically, just a soft, steady, yes. I will. that made Ethan close his eyes as if he'd been holding his breath for years. 2 months later, Manhattan buzzed with one headline: The Crawford Wedding, a union no one saw coming. The Plaza Hotel glowed like it was lit from within. Florists filled the grand ballroom with white roses and soft gold accents. The air shimmered with quiet awe as guests arrived: executives, celebrities, old money families who lived on Park Avenue for generations. But what stole all attention wasn't the wealth around them. It was Anna. She stood at the entrance of the ballroom wearing a simple, elegant gown. Nothing extravagant, nothing designed to compete. It flowed softly behind her, the fabric catching light as if it knew her story. Her hair fell in gentle waves, her smile trembling, not with nerves, but with gratitude. Mia whispered beside her, "You look like someone who finally came home." The doors opened. Music swelled. Every head turned as Anna walked down the aisle. But she wasn't looking at them. She was looking at Ethan. He stood beneath an arch of ivory roses, eyes locked on her, with a devotion so naked it made several guests quietly wipe their eyes. He didn't care about the cameras, the reporters, the powerful people watching. His entire world was walking toward him. When she reached him, Ethan took her hands, squeezing them as if grounding himself. "You changed my life," he whispered so only she could hear. "And you saved mine," she whispered back. The officiant began the ceremony, but Anna barely heard anything beyond the steadiness of Ethan's breath and the warmth of his palms. When it came time to exchange vows, Ethan didn't use the prepared words. He spoke from his heart. "I once believed love was a weakness," he said, "but you taught me it's the strongest thing I will ever know." Tears slid down Anna's cheeks. He lifted her hand, brushing his thumb across her ring. "And I vow," Ethan continued, voice rough, "that no rumor, no enemy, no past pain will ever touch you again." The room fell silent. It was perfect. Until the ballroom doors slammed open. Every head whipped around. A breathless security guard rushed inside. He looked straight at Ethan. "Sir, you need to see this. It's about Jason." Ethan's face hardened as he stepped away from the altar. The moment the guard burst into the ballroom, the wedding froze mid-breath. Anna's heart lurched as Ethan stepped toward him, protective instincts rising like a wave. "What happened?" Ethan demanded. The guard lowered his voice. "Sir Jason tried to flee the state. He was intercepted at the airport. And there's more. He confessed everything." A collective gasp rippled through the guests. Anna felt her knees weaken, but this time from relief, not fear. "What exactly did he confess?" Ethan asked. "That he fabricated every rumor," the guard said. "That Mason Clark manipulated him. That the plan was to destroy your credibility by targeting your personal life." He hesitated, then added softly, "He said he never expected Ms. Miller to be strong enough to survive it." Anna swallowed hard. It hurt, but it also liberated her. Ethan took her hand, steadying her as he always did. "It's over," he murmured. "He can't touch you anymore." For the first time in a long time, her lungs filled fully, completely. The officiant cleared his throat gently. "Mr. Crawford, Ms. Miller, would you like to continue?" Ethan turned to her, eyes warm and unwavering. "Only if you want to." Anna looked around the room, the roses, the chandelier lights casting soft gold, the people who had doubted her now watching with quiet respect. Then she looked at Ethan, the man who stood between her and every storm. "Yes," she whispered, "I want to marry you, right here, right now." The crowd exhaled, some with tears, some with smiles. Hope returned to the room like sunlight breaking through clouds. They faced each other again beneath the arch of flowers. This time, there were no fears clawing at Anna's throat, no shadows lurking behind them. Only truth, only love, only two people choosing each other despite everything that tried to tear them apart. "I promise," Anna said, voice steady, "to stand with you in every battle, to believe in who you are beneath the power and the pressure, and to never let the world define us. Ethan's eyes glistened. "And I vow," he whispered, "to protect your heart the way no one ever did before, to choose honesty over fear, to honor your strength, and to build a life where you never question your worth again." A hush swept through the ballroom. "You may kiss your bride," the officiant said softly. Ethan lifted her face with both hands and kissed her slow, deep, certain. The room erupted in applause. Anna closed her eyes, letting the sound wash over her. She was no longer the girl mocked for having no husband yet. She was Anna Crawford, loved, respected, unbreakable, and finally, her life was hers again. So that's how the story comes to an end. And if you're still here with me right now, my friend, then something in Anna's journey must have touched your heart in a way only real life can. Maybe it reminded you of the moments you were underestimated, hurt, or pushed to believe you weren't enough. The Stoics used to say, "The obstacle is the way." And you know what? They were right. Every wound Anna faced became the doorway to her strength. Every humiliation became the ground she rose from. Just like Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Anna couldn't control what people said, but she chose who she became. And that's the part we can all take with us. So tonight, before we close this chapter, let me look at you the way I imagine Anna looked at herself in the mirror that final day, with quiet pride. You made it through your storms too. And you're still here. If this story moved you, even a little, help us share it with someone who might need the reminder. Like the video, share it forward, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the next journey we walk together.